About 40% of women between the ages of 40 and 50 actually have microscopic cancers in their breasts.
What if I told you that you could help starve breast cancer, literally cut off its food supply, using everyday foods from your kitchen? Sounds like science fiction, right? Well, cutting-edge research says it might be possible. Today, we're uncovering how certain foods can help stop tumors in their tracks by choking off their blood supply. Stay tuned, because this could change the way you think about your next meal.
Your own health is in your own hands.
Meet Dr. William Li, a world-renowned physician, scientist, and best-selling author. He's the president of the Angiogenesis Foundation and a pioneer in the field of cancer research, especially when it comes to how our bodies grow blood vessels. Dr. Li has spent decades studying how we can use food as medicine to fight cancer and other diseases. So, if anyone knows about starving cancer with diet, it's this guy.
My book, Eat to Beat Disease, I got it right here. Check it out. If you haven't read it, I strongly recommend it. Eat to Beat Disease. It's got a lot of stuff in here about food doses and all the different kinds of foods that can activate your health defenses to fight cancer. There's whole sections about cancer-fighting foods in there.
How cancer grows.
Angiogenesis is how our body grows blood vessels. Now, why are blood vessels important? Because you have 60,000 miles worth of blood vessels packed inside your body, all right? And these are the highways and byways by which the oxygen, the air you breathe, the oxygen gets to your cells and your organs. This is the same highways and byways that the food that you eat, I'm going to tell you about the good foods, actually those bioactives, those polyphenols, those phytochemicals get also delivered to your cells, all right? So angiogenesis is how these blood vessels are formed, and it's really important not only to keep our organs healthy, but not to have too many blood vessels around. And the reason that's important is because, here's an interesting point you might not know, angiogenesis and cancer are related. In fact, when we have a good angiogenesis defense system, it will allow our organs to have circulation, but not cancer.
Imagine cancer as a tiny seed, quietly sitting in the body, completely harmless. It's so small, microscopic, really, that you wouldn't even know it's there. In fact, research has shown that many of us, even perfectly healthy people, may have these tiny cancerous clusters in our bodies at some point. Studies have found that about 40% of women in their 40s may already have microscopic breast cancer cells, yet they never develop into anything dangerous. Why? Because at that stage, the cancer is powerless, it's stuck, unable to grow. That's because it hasn't yet built a blood supply to nourish itself. Without blood vessels bringing in oxygen and nutrients, those rogue cells stay small and insignificant. Now, here's where things take a turn. Cancer is sneaky. It doesn't just sit there forever, it tries to survive. And to do that, it does something remarkable yet dangerous. It hijacks the body's blood supply. It starts sending out signals that trick the body into growing new blood vessels to feed it. This process is called angiogenesis, the body's natural way of forming new blood vessels, which is normally a good thing. We need angiogenesis to heal wounds, repair tissues, and grow new cells. But when cancer hacks this process, it bends it to its own will. It forces the body to build a private pipeline of blood vessels straight to the tumor, feeding it exactly what it needs to grow, spread, and become dangerous. This moment, the point when cancer successfully connects to its own blood supply, is the turning point. Before angiogenesis, it's just a microscopic, harmless cluster. After angiogenesis, it's a growing, aggressive disease. Dr. Judah Folkman, one of the pioneers in this field, called this phenomenon cancer without disease. Cancer exists, but without blood vessels, it can't do anything. That means if we can block angiogenesis, if we can cut off the tumor's blood supply before it takes hold, we have a powerful way to starve cancer before it ever becomes a real threat. And that's exactly what the latest research is, uncovering how we can use diet and lifestyle to tip the balance in our favor and keep cancer locked in its powerless state.
So here's the deal with cancer, and this is something a lot of people don't know. We all have cancers growing inside our body. You too, me too. We are all made out of 40 trillion cells that are dividing over and over so that we're around tomorrow. All it takes is for one or two mistakes for those cells to make when they're dividing, and bingo, you've got a mutation, you've got a mutated cell, and you've got a microscopic cancer. Now, these microscopic cancers can grow up to the size of the tip of a ballpoint pen, about 2 millimeters, and that's it. Reason it can't get bigger? No oxygen, no nutrients. They don't have an air hose. They don't have a blood supply at the very beginning. And so our body's angiogenesis defense system prevents that from happening, prevents a bad circulation to be growing to a bad cell, like cancer cells. Now, and then what happens is that the tumor sits there, and then our immune system wings by like cops on a beat, looking for those bad guys, those like microscopic cancers, and picks them up.
If we can keep that switch turned off, if we prevent a tumor from growing its own blood vessels, we can effectively starve the cancer. Without blood to feed it, the cancer remains weak, tiny, and unable to spread.
This is my area of research. I can tell you that without a blood supply, those cancers are tiny, pinpoint. The moment that cancer can hijack blood vessels, angiogenesis, the blood vessels grow right up to the tumor, feed it, okay, like an organ, and that cancer can grow 16,000 times in just 2 weeks. All right, it's explosive. It's like a trigger for cancer growth, and that's what happens when our angiogenesis defenses are not in good shape. Remember, I told you those 5 things that actually compromise our defenses: too much sugar, all that kind of stuff, not enough physical activity, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the good news is that there are more than 100 different foods that I wrote about in my book and are tables and charts that are anti-angiogenic. They enhance your body's ability to cut off the blood supply feeding cancers. And that's part of the research I've done at the National Cancer Institute.
Number 1, tomatoes.
Some of these foods, by the way, include tomatoes.
Did you know that a simple everyday food like tomatoes could be a powerful weapon against cancer? It's true. According to groundbreaking research, tomatoes contain a natural compound called lycopene, which has been shown to inhibit angiogenesis, the process by which cancer tumors grow their own blood supply. Without blood vessels feeding them, tumors struggle to grow and spread. But here's the best part: cooked tomatoes are even more powerful than raw ones. Heating tomatoes, whether in a sauce, soup, or even sun-dried form, boosts the bioavailability of lycopene by over 50%. And when paired with healthy fats like olive oil, your body absorbs even more of this cancer-fighting compound. So that delicious bowl of tomato soup or a homemade marinara sauce, it's not just comforting, it's actively helping your body defend itself. Studies have shown that people who regularly consume tomatoes have a lower risk of several cancers, including breast, prostate, and lung cancer. Lycopene works by reducing inflammation, neutralizing free radicals, and blocking tumor blood vessel growth.
Tomatoes, actually have lycopene. They are healthy to eat. All the human studies, not animal studies, show you that tomatoes actually can reduce the risk of different types of cancers, including prostate and breast. And if you can't actually get a whole fresh tomato, guess what? You can order this. This is actually just a tube of tomato paste. And San Marzano tomatoes, which are from Italy, have the highest levels of lycopene. All right. So, by the way, a clinical study of 36,000 men showed that eating tomatoes, cooked tomatoes, can reduce the risk of prostate cancer by almost 30% and by breast cancer by about 20%.
Number 2, blueberries.
Now, one of the things that I've been studying is how much do you need to eat in order to get the benefit. I want to show you. Blueberries are anti-angiogenic. I had some this morning for breakfast. Some of my favorites. Love blueberries. The color blueberries is made by anthocyanins, a natural dye. 1 cup a week has been shown in human studies to fight breast cancer. Also boost your immune system.
Did you know that blueberries are one of the most powerful anti-cancer foods you can eat? These little berries are packed with antioxidants and natural compounds that help starve breast cancer by blocking angiogenesis, the process tumors use to grow their own blood supply. Without blood vessels feeding them, cancer cells struggle to survive and spread. So, what makes blueberries so special? They're rich in anthocyanins and flavonoids, which neutralize free radicals, reduce inflammation, and slow the growth of cancer cells. Studies have shown that blueberries can suppress breast cancer cell growth and even trigger cancer cell death, apoptosis, basically forcing the bad cells to self-destruct. But here's something even more amazing: blueberries don't just fight cancer once it appears. They also help prevent it from forming in the first place. Research suggests that women who consume antioxidant-rich fruits like blueberries regularly have a lower risk of developing breast cancer. The best part? Blueberries are delicious and easy to add to your diet. Toss them in your smoothie, oatmeal, yogurt, or even eat them by the handful. Fresh or frozen, they pack the same cancer-fighting power. Number 3. Soy.
Soy, again, another urban legend that women should avoid soy. Turns out soy cuts off the blood supply, feeding breast cancers and other cancers. So it turns out that, well, first of all, an urban legend is that all women should stay away from soy because soy has estrogen, and some forms of human breast cancer are sensitive to estrogen, so dangerous to actually eat soy. Totally wrong. Totally wrong. All right. In China, in Japan, in Vietnam, in Thailand, breast cancer is out there too. And I guarantee you, if women are diagnosed with breast cancer in Asia, they are not told to stay away from soy. In fact, you're told to eat more soy. And here's the reason why. That soy does have a plant estrogen called phytoestrogen. One of them is called genistein. And again, where did the urban legend come from? Look, some well-meaning soul knew that breast cancers are sensitive to estrogen sometimes, and they saw phytoestrogen, and they're like, well, I best stay away from soy then, and then use whatever communication medium to spread that urban legend around. And now everybody believes it. Even oncologists believe it. To be honest with you, like even doctors are repeating this urban legend. But here's the thing: if you are a scientist and you look at the actual chemical structure of human estrogen in breast cancer, and then you look at the phytoestrogen chemical structure, they don't look anything alike. And in fact, plant estrogens block human estrogen. So the soy estrogen is like tamoxifen. It's Mother Nature's tamoxifen. It blocks the effects of estrogen. So this is why, and by the way, the genistein in soy also cuts off the blood supply, feeding breast cancers. All right, so you get a double-barreled effect. So a study of 5,000 women in China looked at the highest risk women, and these are women who already have breast cancer, and found that those women who consumed the most soy products, not processed soy, but soy products, actually had a 30% lower risk of dying of their breast cancer. 30. Okay. And if you were a woman who already had surgery and radiation and chemo, and you were out, like you're in remission and just waiting for that 5-year mark kind of thing, those women who had the most soy had a 30% reduction in their breast cancer coming back. All right. Cancer starving, estrogen blocking, all the other things as well. Now, and so this is where, having parts of the right information and trying to put them together is okay, but you got to double check it, for people who really understand the science.
Soy has been surrounded by myths, but science tells a different story. It can actually help fight breast cancer. Studies show that soy contains powerful plant compounds called isoflavones, which act as natural angiogenesis inhibitors, meaning they help block tumor blood vessel growth, essentially starving cancer before it spreads. One of the biggest misconceptions is that soy fuels breast cancer, but research proves the opposite. Large-scale studies involving thousands of women have found that eating soy is linked to a lower risk of breast cancer recurrence and even higher survival rates. In fact, women who consumed at least 10 grams of soy protein daily, about a cup of soy milk or tofu, had up to a 30% lower risk of breast cancer returning. So, how does soy work? The isoflavones in soy mimic estrogen, but instead of stimulating cancer, they actually block stronger, harmful estrogen from fueling tumor growth. Plus, soy contains other cancer-fighting compounds that reduce inflammation and stop rogue cells from multiplying. For the best benefits, choose whole soy foods like tofu, tempeh, edamame, miso, or soy milk, not heavily processed soy isolates found in supplement.
Some people might be surprised to hear this. Soy foods, not processed soy, not artificial, not synthetic stuff, but actual soy. I'm not talking about plant-based meats. I'm talking about real tofu, tempeh, soy milk, that kind of stuff. and there's hundreds of kinds of soy foods in Asia. All right. You go to any Asian grocery store, if you look around, you'll see a myriad of choices of soy foods. If you go to Asia, I guarantee, like if you're from the Western world, you go to Asia for the first time, you're going to be overwhelmed at how many different kinds of choices you have with soy foods. In soy foods, soy has been shown to reduce the risk of breast cancer.
Number 4. Sourdough bread.
Sourdough bread. This is a big surprise. Sourdough is actually made with lactobacillus inside the dough. Now, there's been research studies looking at the number of different types of lactobacillus that are present in sourdough, the dough itself. Lactobacillus reuteri, which originally is delivered from the mom. Something that is startling is we're realizing that this bacteria, Lactobacillus reuteri, lives in the colon. When the mom is 9 months pregnant, there's a signal sent from the uterus to the colon, and it causes this bacteria to come out of the colon inside blood cells. It kind of like calls an Uber, picks up a cell, and it rides all the way to the breast, where it lives. It gets out of the Uber by the nipple. And when the actual breastfeeding begins, the mother's milk injects this bacteria into the baby. And so this is another example of how the microbiome actually works. It turns out that this bacteria actually can reduce the growth of breast cancer. And it comes from breastfeeding. And at least in the laboratory, if the mom actually is able to breastfeed with the Lactobacillus reuteri, it'll protect 4 generations later on against breast cancer.
Did you know that sourdough bread isn't just delicious, it could actually help starve breast cancer? Unlike regular bread, sourdough undergoes natural fermentation, which creates powerful cancer-fighting benefits by improving gut health and reducing inflammation, 2 key factors in preventing and slowing cancer growth. So how does it work? Sourdough is packed with prebiotics and probiotics, which feed the good bacteria in your gut. A healthy gut is linked to a stronger immune system, better digestion, and even lower breast cancer risk. Studies show that a balanced gut microbiome helps regulate estrogen levels, preventing excess estrogen from fueling hormone-sensitive breast cancers. Sourdough is also lower in gluten and phytic acid, making it easier to digest and allowing your body to absorb more essential cancer-fighting nutrients like zinc, magnesium, and antioxidants. Plus, the fermentation process breaks down harmful compounds found in regular bread that may contribute to inflammation, a known trigger for cancer. And here's the best part: sourdough has a lower glycemic index than most breads, meaning it won't spike your blood sugar. Why does this matter? High blood sugar levels are linked to increased cancer risk, and keeping them stable can help starve cancer cells of the fuel they need to grow. Number 5. Green tea.
Green tea. I wanted to show you this. I'm actually rarely found without a cup of green tea around. This is whole leaf green tea, but you can use matcha, you can use iced tea, works as well as hot tea. To tell a story in my book, I had a great uncle that lived to 104, and he lived at the base of a tea mountain, and every single day he drank like 6 cups of green tea and stayed very physically active, walking up the hills and trails as well. Green tea, by the way, has been shown to reduce your risk of colon cancer. Why? Because the polyphenols in green tea cut off the blood supply.
Green tea isn't just a soothing drink, it's a scientifically proven cancer-fighting powerhouse. It contains a special compound called EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate, which does something incredible. It protects your DNA from damage and even reactivates tumor suppressor genes, the natural bodyguards that tell cancer cells to stop growing. Here's why this matters. Research shows that populations with high green tea consumption have lower cancer rates. One large study in China found that women who regularly drank green tea had a 37% lower risk of colon cancer. That's a massive difference just from a simple daily habit. But when it comes to breast cancer, green tea, especially matcha green tea, has an even more impressive trick. Scientists have discovered that matcha can cut off the fuel lines to breast cancer stem cells. These are the stubborn, aggressive cells that are responsible for cancer recurrence. In lab studies, matcha puts these dangerous cells to sleep, stopping them from spreading. Thanks for watching. If you found this information helpful or inspiring, give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more health-empowering content. Remember, healthier choices, one meal at a time. You have the tools to starve cancer and boost your overall health. right on your plate. Stay healthy, stay empowered, and until next time, take care of yourself. You've got this.